Hey, I'm Steve Kleckner, one of your pastors here at the Bridge Church. Many of you attend and serve and come in on Sundays and enjoy our worship and our teaching, and we're so glad that you do that. But maybe you don't know what goes on outside the walls of the church. So today you're in for a treat. We're going to give you an inside look at our Starfish ministry, which is going into its 10th year. You're going to hear from some of the leadership of our Starfish team, John Brinkley, Steve Revels, Jackie Ships, and Tony Calabro, as well as people whose lives have been influenced and impacted by the Starfish ministry. And what you may be surprised to know is that if you give financially at the Bridge Church, you're a part of this ministry as well. So let's take a look at this together.
Let me give you a history of how Starfish started. I was in a home group 9 years ago, and we were studying spiritual gifts and what we're passionate about. And we all had to give a testimony about how we felt about our spiritual gifts. And I mentioned that I had always wanted to help the needy. And I had another gentleman in the group that also said the same thing. So after the meeting, I went up to him and I said, hey, we ought to go to Pastor Matt. And they get bombarded with calls, people needing financial assistance. And I said, we could start a ministry and take that burden from the staff and Matt. So went to Matt. I thought he was going to do cartwheels down the hall. He was so excited that we were taking that burden away from the staff members. And so Agape Ministry was born. Well, in the early days, we called it the Agape Ministry, and there were a lot of things called Agape, and we know it was sort of redundant. And I told a story with a group about a little girl on the beach with thousands of starfish on the beach, and she was picking one up at a time and throwing it in the ocean. And her mom came by and said, honey, don't you know you can't make a difference with all these starfish? And she picked up a starfish and threw it in and said, well, I made a difference for that one. And that's how we envisioned this ministry, helping one person at a time.
I'd be homeless, bottom line. Like I said, 3 churches contacted me. One helped with a couple nights in a motel room, because we were basically at that point. I have my son. I'm a single parent. Well, I sent I kid you not, probably 50 to 100 emails out, and out of that, only 3 contacted me. And I was already at the point where I was giving up hope. The ministry helped us in our situation. It was no questions asked except for the basics, but it's no, this is what we're gonna do. And I was just floored, so it brought my faith back in the church and in God, basically, because I was losing faith big time. I've been through a lot of stuff, and I'm not just fighting for myself now, I'm fighting for him, and I said, I got to that point where, I was like, really? What's going on? Why? Is there something I'm missing? Are you showing me signs, but I'm not seeing this, And like I said, to the Ships family and to the ministries, he's just like, here, this is what I'm doing for you. You need to see what I'm doing for you. You need to grab it and run with it. And that's what I did. There's no doubt about that. The ministries has helped me that much. God has put his hands on us that much.
We've been blessed to be able to help folks a lot of ways through the Starfish ministry. You'll notice in your brochure that there's a list of some of those ways, the Florida Power and Lights, the water bills, etc. But we've also been able to kind of go outside the box and help some folks in need. A couple examples of that is we had a lady who used to go to our church, whose son tragically passed away in a car accident. We were able to help her pay for a cremation. She had no money to bury her son.
Since starting as a member of the Starfish team, I've just been able to see the amazing things that we're able to do and the relationships that we're building with the community and with individuals who, they've lost hope, they don't have faith, or they've lost their faith and they just really think that nobody else cares about them. Stuff the Stocking is one of our biggest events that we do every year. And we've done it for 10 years, and we have previously used schools, local schools who can identify children who are in need. And we have reached over 700 kids. Is that the right number?
Yes.
Over 700 kids over the last 10 years and been able to give them a Christmas they wouldn't have been able to have. And what's great about that is it's not just the gifts that we're able to give them for Christmas, that's the beginning of a relationship.
You know, in the end, we have a simple formula that came to us very early on, and it's that, we make decisions with our heart.